You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Hi, I'm Davey.
I'm Jake.
And we are
the
Bargain Bin Gamers. There you go. You got
I
that
got it right the
Mitch.
second
Well
time.
done.
Yeah.
That'll
Second
go in
time.
the Patreon uncut version. People will love it. And we are the podcast YouTube show. And don't worry about the Twitch stream part. Haven't done it in a year. Where we put the gay in gaming.
While not hurting your hip pocket.
Yeah, close enough.
Close enough. Yeah. Okay. I need the slogans on a little cheat sheet for myself.
That's all good. You did well. I mean, I changed the script on Mitch often enough, so he gets pretty upset with that. But anyway, how is your hip pocket, Jake?
Good. Yeah, fine. Yes. I was saying before, I went on my first horse ride the other day, and I've never been on a horse ride before. And while going through that, I had Hyrule Field music in my head while I was riding on the horse, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is like a full circle moment or something like that." And I don't know why, but it just
No,
it was a bit of an
totally
epiphany.
Get that. That would be a wonderful experience. I think I'd have the same thing if I had like the Chocobo music playing or something.
Yeah.
What a wonderful way to bring the guest in early. That's Before we begin, though, I would just like to give a big shout out to all of our BQN Podcast Network patrons, especially to this show's associate producer, Sam Johnson. Sam, thank you so much for your continued financial contribution towards the show and the network. Remember, if you would like to help keep this and other BQN podcasts coming to you every single week, sign up to be a patron over at patreon.com/BQN. A lot easier to do without having to sort of keep prompting Mitch to remember the script, by the way. I let you get out of jail free on that one.
Oh, I didn't. There you go.
Well, thank you for joining us, by the way. Everyone, we've got Jake here today from the Melbourne Gamers. Third time on the show now?
I think so.
Once as a guest, second time as a co-host?
Yeah. I'm racking up my co-host.
Yeah.
Counter.
Exactly. Your podcasting credentials. You could have an IMDb page by the end of this, probably.
That's exciting.
I'll make one for you. But unfortunately, like, Mitch is fine. He's not recovering from surgery or anything like that. He just couldn't get out of work this afternoon. So, and you could.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, well, I'm gonna wrap up early.
Yeah. How you been?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Not too bad. I haven't been riding any horses or anything.
No.
But
I hear you're opening new enterprises, and
I am opening new enterprises, and I have to mention it because that way this show can be a tax write-off. If you would like to check out my podcast producing and editing service, Double T Media, check me out on Instagram and inquire now. So there you go.
Yeah.
This show just literally just saying that means that I can claim the studio rental on tax today.
Yeah, speaking of looking after your hip pocket.
Yeah,
exactly. We're super excited. We've got a little bit of a different episode today and a little bit of a different guest. We've been interviewing a lot of indie devs on the show lately, but we've got a different guest today who I know you're excited to meet for reasons you may have just alluded to a little bit. So sitting across from us is Melbourne-based DJ, creator of The Book of Divergence, which I'm sure we'll hear more about, video game music specialist, proud bisexual man, and dad. There's a whole lot going on there. It's Matt Frequencies. Hey, Matt.
G'day. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I mean, we've kind of met before.
We have something about live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. Yeah, I was explaining to
a parallel podcast.
A parallel podcast, also a Double T Media production.
Oh, there you go.
On the BQN Podcast Network, patreon.com.
That's all right. Well, I mean, on that one, I managed to demonstrate a complete lack of knowledge of specifics of Voyager, but that's okay because now we're dabbling in my sphere instead of me dabbling in your sphere.
Yeah, well, I mean, you reached out originally when I was advertising. So the Trexperts Quiz, for anyone that doesn't know, is my other podcast. It's a Star Trek game show. And Matt responded to an ad on Instagram to be a contestant and was a virtual contestant. You did pretty good.
Look, I overestimated my Trek knowledge.
Matt, if you can, tell us a little bit about you. So I've seen online that you are I describe you as a video game music DJ.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
But yeah, tell us a little bit about that journey.
Well, so I call myself a nerd who plays nerd music for nerds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for nerds, not to nerds or at nerds, because like we're all together, like nerds and existing in that nerd space is very, or at least historically for us, growing up was very challenging. These days, I think it's a lot easier. But I kind of kicked off my current video game music journey. And I want to stress the current part here because I've brought in some accessories. These aren't my son's, these are mine.
Oh, wow. Is that from when you were a kid?
Dated 1994.
Yeah. So those listening to the audio version, we are looking at some very old, what would you call those? Exercise books?
No, these are my diaries. These are my diaries from when I was in
lines.
school. Yeah. And so that's why I want to stress the current video game journey part, because it's been one of those things that's kind of come and gone and been there and not been there throughout my life. But in 2023, a friend of mine reached out and said, hey, you should do the Your Shot DJ competition, which is a 6-week intensive where they get you in. They teach you how to run enough music to be able to do a 25-minute DJ set. It's actually just finished in Melbourne. They've just had their final competitions for the year. And I got put on a silent disco and I thought, you know what? It's called Your Shot, so screw it. I'm going to do exactly that and shoot my shot. And brought all of the really most important video game music for me throughout my life, all compiled. I've basically, since about 2002, been listening to remixes on OC Remix, and there's a lot of like video game remix artists that I really respect. And so I just went, you know what, I'm going to pull all of these in. I'm going to make a set that is just a story set. I'm going to make it feel like an adventure. I'm going to make it feel like you are progressing through like these lands and having these mini boss fights and stuff, and do it all in 25 minutes and then end it on Doom.
An old faithful.
So I took the Only Thing They Fear Is You to an EDM, essentially an EDM event, got put on silent disco, and then proceeded to turn the silent disco into a violent disco where we were all screaming out rip and tear to the end of The Only Thing They Fear Is You. Apparently we were so loud. We were upstairs in Burke Street Courtyard. Apparently you could actually hear that stage over the top of the main stage speakers.
So
we were all screaming.
Silent.
We were all screaming. From then, it's just kind of erupted where I've been really pushing hard because I know that there's not that many people doing it in this space in Melbourne, but also it's very, very important to me. And so I've been pushing really, really hard to try and get myself into spaces, get myself involved with places, get myself into as many nerd appropriate spots as I can, and really pushing my own production skills, because making music was something I wanted to do ever since basically 1994.
Have you played at Fortress?
Yes.
I wondered that.
Number of times.
Yeah, great. We've started running our gamers events there, and they were like, "Oh, you can get a DJ in." And I was like, "Maybe."
Hello. No, I've
just found one.
Yeah.
I've played at Dadland, which is I don't know if you've seen Dadland. They're a monthly LAN party organised by dads. So it's kind of a dad bonding collective.
Mitch would have fallen off his chair if he was here. Sorry. I thought you said Dadland, and that would have been like,
I heard
the theme park he's always wanted to go to.
Oh, no. And Fortress I've played a number of times. The first time I played at Fortress was the PAX after party last year.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, cool.
And that's
a big
result.
ticket event.
Yeah.
Well, it was really funny actually, because that was the result of me reaching out to the events organizer at Fortress. With a friend of mine, we wanted to kind of go to Glitch or something and maybe do a little takeover with a small lineup of DJs. And I kind of had a little bit of experience running DJ lineups from my Book of Divergence shows, which I'd done earlier in the year. So it all sort of coalesced into this idea of like, well, what if we just went and took somewhere over and like ran happy hardcore and video game music and stuff? And yeah, I was able to approach the event manager at Fortress and say, hey, can we like just take over your after party? And it's all just kind of spiraled from there because it went absolutely nuts. We had James Landino down. I mean, he's the guy that's behind a lot of the music in No Straight Roads. He's done music for, I don't know if you pronounce it Sufhead or Cuphead.
Oh, Cuphead. Yeah.
Yeah, we ended up getting an international down. We had Jada Bella Cosplay there. It was insane. And I mean, from then, Fortress have kind of gone, oh, we can actually run this as a rave space. Let's do it.
I guess the question is, why video game music? Why has video game music become your trademark?
So I had two brothers growing up. Unfortunately, one passed earlier this year, which has been a bit tragic. But between the two of them, they were introducing me to a lot of different music as I was growing up. One really liked techno and The Prodigy and stuff, and a lot of out there stuff that wasn't popular in the 90s. It was very underground. And the other really liked a lot of rock and roll type stuff. But between the two of them, they had some similar tastes, and those sort of filtered into me. And what they were introducing me to was a lot of games that had sort of similar music. So you had Wipeout, you had Sonic, you had some of the real dark tunes in StarCraft. Like the Terran,
theme.
the Terran themes, that real slow groove rock, right? That bound.
I listened to that again the other day, and I was like, I forgot how terribly recorded quality it was.
Oh yeah, it was shocking.
It was shocking, but I was like,
shocking.
in my head, it's better remembered, I think.
Well, the good news is that there is Nitro Fun. The artist Nitro Fun did a remix of the StarCraft theme, and it is really good.
Cool.
Highly recommend it. All of that sort of informed a lot of my taste in music, and then what I found was that because I was a loner as a kid, and I spent a lot of time playing video games, and a lot of those melodies just really stuck in my head. And we didn't know it at the time, but I'm autistic. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of that echolalia was I would then repeat those melodies back as whistles and hums and clicks and pops and just verbalizing them. And so then they got even further reinforced. And so it just, these real video game tunes, lots of that Lemmings, Sonic, Zool, if you know that one on the Amiga. Too many to name.
Yeah.
They all became part of what made up the framework of what I think about when I think music. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't actually have terribly much exposure to pop music growing up. And even when I did run into it, I was like, oh God, this is a bit formulaic, isn't it? Because video game music was mostly like, even though it was repetitive, it was all really different and really designed to evoke a certain sense.
It's done well.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
The classics.
Yeah,
of course. I mean, I give a talk about this where I talk about how video game music is designed to evoke a certain sense of adventure and wonder and progression. And so you have different music that is deliberately designed to evoke a sense of a biome or world or environment. You've got, you know in your head what desert music sounds like. As soon as I say it, you can hear the sitar and you can hear the long drawn out melodic notes. And as soon as I say Oriental music, right, you can hear those woodwinds and jungle music. You can hear the bongos and all that stuff. But those perceptions were informed by video games.
Yeah.
Right? If we didn't have the themes of Donkey Kong, what would we think jungle music sounds like? If we didn't have the themes of Mario and the desert worlds in Mario, or the underwater worlds in Mario, or the underwater temple in Zelda, would we have a different perception of what those worlds sound like?
It's like which game set the tone for all the future games. Yeah,
exactly. And it's fun to me to look back at the history of that and kind of go, oh, actually, it's mostly derived from jazz.
Yeah.
Mostly derived from Japanese jazz. That's the why. The why is because I feel like video game music actually has a really important role to tell in how we perceive the world around us. And it can do it in a way that a lot of other music can't, especially for people that, like me, struggle with spoken lyric in music, because it has to evoke that sense without a spoken lyric. How does it achieve that? How does it put you into that environment instead of, saying cruising through the desert in my Chevy, right? How does it make it sound like you're cruising through the desert in your Chevy? What does the sound of Lotus sound like? What does the sound of Outrun, Turbo Outrun, what does that sound like? That Caribbean sort of...
It reminds me a bit of, speaking about the different biomes, it reminds me of Banjo-Kazooie. And the soundtrack is kind of the same theme, or same melody, but then it's varied depending on where you are. So if you're in the ice, in the ice area, it starts to get cold and chilly, or if you're in the summery sun area, it's a lot more happier, or even between seasons. Like at the end, it's got an autumn version and a summer version and a winter version, and it's like, oh, I love that so much.
Yeah, and you immediately have those senses of warmth or cold, or and despair when you're doing a boss fight and things like that, and struggle. That the way the music is designed to do that is very, very unique to video game music, and the experience you have when experiencing video game music is also unique because you're in control of the action, and so because you're playing the game, your mind is in this learning state where it's ready to accept things. So the music just kind of drives itself even further home.
Yeah. How do you see that comparing to, say, movie soundtracks?
Well, you engage with a movie passively. Like, it's not that movie soundtracks are bad, but if you were to ask me to recite the theme of Avengers, for instance, I couldn't possibly. Like, I have no...
which one? There's like 5 bajillion
and
of them.
if you played it back, I would probably go, oh yeah, that's the Avengers theme. But I cannot tell you what that melody line is off the top of my head. Not a hope in hell.
There's a lot more personality in the game world.
Well, I
when it
mean,
comes to
okay,
music.
let's try a little experiment. This was a triumph.
Making
I watched the video last night.
success.
Exactly. But
I
like,
love
how
this
much
song
of a
so
meme
much.
was that for our generation, right?
was,
Yeah.
Everyone knew it. I was singing it when I was working at Macca's with a couple of co-workers. It was just what we were doing.
Yeah, I have a video game music playlist, and that was the first song I added to it.
Yeah.
I highly recommend. The device has been modified by Victims of Science. It's
okay.
old. It's a bit low quality,
Mhm.
but it uses a whole bunch of samples from Portal, and it's this really cool story told from GLaDOS side in music.
Awesome.
Mhm.
It's really dark.
Yeah. I mean, the identities of these songs and music from particular franchises or whatever are just so recognizable.
Yeah.
I know you're a huge Sonic fan. Like,
Yes.
I think
well,
the shirt and the Sega in
and the
is that Chemical
yes,
Plant Zone?
oh,
it
Chemical
is?
Plant Zone
Yeah.
Yes,
tattoo.
it
That's
is.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, but like that music, like you instantly know what is, okay, that's Emerald Hill or that's Green Hill.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
dun, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun.
exactly. Yeah. Bit. Yeah. Or even, you go over to Mario. I mean, what is more immediately recognizable to the general public than the Mario soundtracks?
Yeah.
You know? Bum, 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 ba-da-dum, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
And interesting how those MIDI tunes that my parents complained relentlessly about
yeah, I know.
hearing.
I got told off so much for having it too
Same,
loud, and I was like,
loved
and
it.
I was like, but I don't know why. I think because I was participating in it, it wasn't annoying.
Yes, it's
But
the
I think-
participation
I
side.
think if you were just listening to it on the side, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, well, exactly. And when it's got the sound effects, especially, and it's like,
Yeah.
bling, bling,
Yeah.
bling, 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 and that's just going on constantly. Yeah, you do get a bit.
So I
like,
was always getting turn it down, and I was like, oh, I love.
Yeah,
this
but I was like,
soundtrack
no,
so
but this is like, this is Chemical
What-
Plant Zone. I love this
yeah,
part
exactly.
of it.
Like we've had to set up a separate room for the kids to be able to play video games in because we get overloaded so quickly as parents.
Yes, of course.
But we want them to be able to have those moments and enjoy those things. And like my son plays Sonic Frontiers now.
Mhm.
And so, you've got the new generation playing Sonic Frontiers, next generation of Sonic, like, full circle.
Mhm.
And I will put on the boss themes from that and he'll just immediately go, oh, that's Wyvern. I know that boss fight.
Do you find that does the more recent video game music resonate and stick with you as much, or is it more like that's their music? That's the stuff that they're going to.
It depends. It really
Yeah.
depends. I mean, like, I hadn't played Undertale up until this year, but I knew of Megalovania simply because it was so pervasive.
Mhm.
But now I'm actually playing Undertale and I'm starting to understand it a lot more. It's like, yeah, okay, I can actually relate to some of this music now. Like, I didn't understand it prior, but now I've heard it in context and it's like, oh, okay, I can understand why that's got that emotional weight to it.
Mm.
I've just been playing Outer Wilds for the first time, and that's also got quite a soundtrack to it as well. But it's without giving, I can't give too much away because it's a knowledge based game. But basically, there's a time loop, and at the end, there's always this outro theme. And it took me a little while to realize what it was, and it's just great soundtrack.
I love games that do that. I love games that have their own mimetic identity within the game.
Yeah.
I've seen you talk before as well about that. There's that emotional connection that you get. So, you hear that Green Hill Zone theme and you're taken back to the first time you played Sonic the Hedgehog. One that comes to mind for me is the Halo theme.
Yes.
Like that is,
oh,
you hear
yes.
that,
That's what I opened my Vengeance support set with. I mean,
They did a concert in Melbourne ages ago that was like themes from video games, but not Zelda specifically. And they had a choir do Halo. Yeah, it was just so good.
John B, good drum bass artist. Well, good, amazing. He's
Mhm.
been around forever. Does a few video game remixes, and he's done one of Doom E1E1, M1. He's done one of Halo, and his Halo theme is what I decided to use to open that drum bass set with. So I went TARDIS theme straight into the Halo chorus. It's unfortunate that it was an opening set because, of course, there weren't very many people on the floor to enjoy it, but the people that were there went nuts.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about what you said about that, that interactive element to it. Because when I hear that build in the Halo theme, I think of driving around in a water
running over,
as the Halo's blowing up around me in Halo
When I played it
3.
at Fortress, they all went and got into a big conga line and did a big conga line around the entire arena, and it was like they were doing Warthog and they were
it creates such a different experience. How do you feel about like the evolution of video game music? Because there's those classic MIDI tunes which are based on, I've seen in the talk that you do online, based on old Japanese jazz. But now we've got these big like orchestral themes. Like, how have you found that evolution?
It's interesting because when you actually break it down, apart from a specific few tracks that are actually live recorded, most video game music is still tracked and made in sequences and using MIDI control. It's just that the instruments that it's controlling have got a whole lot better.
Of course.
So you take the Final Fantasy 15 soundtrack, for instance. I play some of that in my sets because it's perfectly grid aligned. It's really good music, and it's also got that immediate recognizability to it without really being obviously Final Fantasy. So you can kind of slip it into a whole lot of different places. Like I played the most muscular from Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is the music that plays when you're in the gym doing squats. And I played that smack in the middle of my Vengeance set very soon after playing the Bluey theme, which was an interesting moment.
Was that just something that snuck in from your kids' collection?
That sounds like a kid's choice.
That's a dad thing.
No, that was a me choice. I decided to edit one of the dance mode songs and make it drum bass suitable, and then ran Sex Bomb into Doom. And it was like this little slice of life of being a dad. So you have the Sex Bomb, and then you have the kids, and then you get Doom.
So you've got a very popular show that you like to do, which is the Book of Divergence show. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's a adventure rave, and it's evolved a little bit, but the show I'm doing at Gummo is going to be the last time I perform the Book of Divergence as it stands.
Okay.
For now, until it evolves a bit more. Because the book was meant to be a bit of a psychological introspection of myself. It's got 3 characters that play out on stage. You've got Father Matthew, the guardian of order, the bringer of peace and the bringer of truth, and Brother Seth, the bringer of chaos and the bringer of mania. And you can't see it on on the audio stream, but the good.
That's
no prizes for guessing he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
And the point was you were meant to pick between these 3 characters to allow them to tell their story. And so that was the interactivity, was that you were picking between these characters who would then play their story out in music in a ravey format, but it was still mostly story driven and still mostly about pushing that, what story are we telling here? So very story first format, very, very much you can sit back and watch it and kind of have a tea and think about it type stuff. Or you can get on the dance floor and have a good groove.
It's an interesting intersection of, where you can like choose how you want to participate in it, really.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that was the point. I wanted people to be able to choose how they participated, and I wanted them to be able to choose how the story would unfold and what outcome we would get to. So which character would finish up the story and what outcome that character would have within their story, because each character has 2 possible endings. So there's
like
six endings.
RPG, but in music.
Yeah, the closest I could describe it as being is like a Goosebumps novel.
Yeah.
So
turn to track 12.
Yeah, basically, it's got precise defined paths, and you know that if you make the right choices, you'll end up along certain paths. It's good, and I enjoy playing it a lot. But the reason that I'm giving so much of a about it at the moment is because what we ended up with at Fortress just recently at the Dungeons and Flagons rave is something about 1 million times better.
Right. Okay.
And so it's that very awkward moment of development of like, oh dear, I've just made something that is so much better than what I'm currently producing that crap, I can't actually keep doing this thing.
It's incredible though. Like I've never heard of anything quite like it.
Yeah.
And of course you would evolve and come up with different stories over time. What was it like the first time you were like, all right, I'm going to go and do this interactive rave? Did audiences know what they were getting themselves
Nobody
into?
knew what the hell they were getting. I first played it at Radio Bar. They were because I mean, where do you put this sort of thing on?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so Radio Bar were generous enough to say, look, we'll let you run an event here. You can put it on as the headline act and get some support acts in, and you can do it that way. And so we ran a couple of events called Tales from the Deck, which was designed to let people sort of tell stories with music. And it was fun, and it worked out quite well. We had people voting using vote tokens.
That was going to be my next question: is how do you gather the?
Well, yes. So the gathering has evolved a lot over time.
Thanks technology, I imagine.
No, less technology. Reducing. You want people as little involved with touching their phones and touching stuff as possible.
Yeah.
Right. You want them there, present, and in the moment, engaging, not playing around with stuff and looking. We used to have storyboards laid out that would have the story of the set written out in text format, and then you could vote for how the story was going to progress. So it was literally almost a choose your own adventure novel on the bar while the music was playing.
Mhm.
And what we found was a lot of people were just kind of going up and reading the novel and then putting their vote token in and then going and sitting back down. They weren't really engaging with it. And that's not really the intent. We want people dancing. We want people having a good time. We want people getting in there and kind of mucking in and feeling the music as well. So then we thought, okay, that's not totally working. Let's try having it be a show of hands. What we found with the show of hands was that people were reluctant to get their hands up in the air because they were like, I'm going to make a fool of myself. I don't really want to be like visible. So then we thought, okay, we'll try doing it with rave sticks. We'll try doing it with these colored rave sticks that will have people select the color. And that looked really cool on camera, but people were playing with the rave sticks. And they were just sitting there messing with them. And they weren't actually
on random colors.
Yeah, and they weren't actually really engaging with the concept of like choose red for this character or choose blue for this character or whatever. So now we've just gone for a voice vote. It's like,
fair enough.
Okay.
If you want to vote, you need to speak up, because what we want is people that are engaged and participating. We don't want people just passively sort of sitting back and having massive influence over the story. If you're not prepared to speak up, you don't get a vote.
So it's a
that simple.
cheerometer.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
It's what I did at Fortress was I've now evolved this thing out to a thing I call Divergence, the Rave RPG. And so that concept of biomes suddenly becomes extremely relevant, because now the question is, instead of which character are you going to support, it's where are we going to start? Are we going to be on the beach or the forest or in the mountains or somewhere else? I might offer different options depending on the night.
What does
the vibe is.
what does north sound like? What does east sound like?
As a matter of fact, I do have biomes for those concepts, but not for the cardinals. But anyway,
you're a proud bisexual man. You identify as queer. How does your queer identity shape your creative work, and does it have a presence in your music?
Now I actually do tend to prioritize and favor queer and non-binary artists when I'm doing music selection. So if there is a remix and there is an equivalent remix that's been done by somebody else, I'll honestly tend to prefer the NB artist, simply for representation's sake, really. But sometimes it's also because I want the people on the floor to know that they're safe, and I want them to know. So the thing is, people don't dance if they don't feel safe.
Yeah.
Right. And so a lot of that experience, a lot of my experiences as a bi person, as a bi man, has been being othered. Like, it tends to be, okay, you're not gay. What's the story there?
Yeah.
You know, you've kind of settled. And it's like, well, no, hang on, fuck you. I can walk into the lead and get a pash. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
The issue is I don't have the capacity to have multiple partners in my life, and I don't really want to either. And so, yes, of course it looks like I'm straight, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So please don't treat me that way. Thank you. And I think I want to make people feel seen when they're at my shows. And so I think a lot of my focus is informed by my own experience of feeling like I'm invisible. And so wanting to kind of drag people up and go, hey, no, I see you. Like at Fortress, again, at that Dungeons and Flagons rave, I was handing out drink tokens to best dressed and most active on floor. And I will admit I was deliberately leaning a little bit towards some of the more visibly NB and trans people in the crowds, because I wanted them to feel safe. I wanted them to feel like I saw them, I recognize them, I see you, you're okay, you're allowed to be here, you're meant to be here. Which is why Fortress is such a fantastic place to play, by the way, because it is this massive melting pot.
One of the reasons we ended up trying to get gamers there was just because we know that there's a lot of representation there, even amongst the staff. And
I mean, like there's so many of the staff there that are somewhere on the rainbow spectrum.
Yeah, there's so many spectrums going on. It's like, which spectrum am I part of?
They're relegating all the finance bros doing like some kind of like work event into one of those booths, like the far corner as well, which is good. They're like, oh, sick! They got Mario Kart.
Oh, I know. Oh, it's all the esports bros.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Esports is coming up later.
Yeah. We've
later
got an esports interview coming up.
Like,
so.
Nothing against esports, but it does tend to attract the football crowd.
See, I see the overlap.
And like I don't have an issue with that myself, but I'm not a big cheer on like, oh yeah, get your team in kind of guy.
You might get a drink token if you cheer.
No, that's cool. And I think we are very lucky here in Melbourne to have so many inclusive venues. You wouldn't think it in the gaming space, right? Like I think the external vision of gaming and even video game music is sometimes this very, I don't know, like it's almost kind of macho, kind of broy, but
it's
underneath it's not.
It's like if you peel back the layers, you're like, well, actually, there's more to this than.
I think it's kind of, it comes from where you come at it from. If you came at gaming from like a Street Fighter and Halo and
Call of Duty
and online multiplayer, that sort of environment, then yeah, it is a little bit more macho. It is a little bit more high intensity, sort of blood, get the blood pumping sort of thing. But I think if you came at it from more of a puzzle game, like if you were a Puzzle Bobble, Tetris, that sort of type of game, even Worms, because even though Worms was a tactical game, it was a slow tactical game.
I remember the little army theme and the little parachutes and stuff.
Matter of fact, there's a new update to the old Amiga version of Worms coming out soonish.
Okay.
Which is a bit
so
amazing.
It's like genres of games then kind of attract different.
Yeah, and they do,
people.
and it is a natural thing. It's the same as genres of movies. Like if you're the type of person that watches action movies, you're probably the type of person that's going to enjoy Call of Duty. If you're the type of person that would prefer to watch something like A Clockwork Orange, there's a decent chance that you're going to prefer more of your survival horror or your more introspective type games. If you're the sort of person that would much prefer to just sit down and watch a gardening show, then yes, you're probably going to enjoy
Stardew Valley.
Yeah, Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, those sort of games. So, I think there is a lot of overlap in the media we consume, but also in the types of crowds that then brings.
Mm-hmm.
So, Arcane, for instance, because Arcane came from League of Legends, you would expect it to be more of that bro-y type of thing, except that League of Legends themselves, the game is so very queer to begin with and has such a diversity of representation that when they went and made it into a show, it basically became this lesbian pop icon, massive thing. And so when then I got asked to play Arcane Rave, I was able to throw in just heaps of this really big gay representation in a whole bunch of different formats, which went off, obviously.
So some good soundtracks there. I'm still sad there's only 2 seasons, but it's like, in the end, it's like if there's something good, you can only extend it so far before it starts to become.
And so you should.
Yeah. So I'm at peace with it, but.
And you're a dad as well?
Yes.
Yeah. How many kids have you got?
3.
3? Wow.
3. It's a bit of effort.
Yeah.
It wasn't intended that way. We were going to hold off on having the third one, but we are stupid and we have ADHD and we are very impulsive. And now I have a vasectomy.
So you can still be impulsive.
Yeah, we can still
the
be
repercussions.
Exactly. We often have said to each other, yes, we're very, very glad we got that done because good grief.
How old are your kids?
So we got 7, 5 next month and 2.
Now, I follow you on Instagram and I always see your stories where you're getting them to play Sonic and
yes.
games.
Is that what inspired last
getting
episode?
Mitch to play Master System Sonic the Hedgehog? A little bit. But yeah, what's it like sharing this with them? You mentioned before the way they can identify.
It is emotional.
Music. Yeah.
It is emotional as hell. The Sonic movies, I hadn't watched them until Sonic 3, the movie, came out. And I was like, no, we got to catch up. We got to watch these. And I sat down to watch Sonic 1. And I don't know if either of you have seen the first Sonic movie.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah. So
they were one of those video game movies that didn't faceplant and actually did a good job. Same with the Super Mario movie. They actually did good with it.
The recent one.
Absolutely, yeah.
The recent one rather than Smallhead Coopers. Which, by the way, I liked as a kid. I liked that movie, but I was weird.
I remember liking it too, but I think it was because I was programmed to do so.
But no, so I thought, okay, this will be a nice family movie night where we'll sit down and we'll watch Sonic 1. Yep, okay, so sit down with the 7-year-old, go to watch Sonic 1, and immediately have my entire childhood drawn up and fucking stretched out above me, drawn out and just oh yeah, okay, we're just going to expose all this trauma now. Because seriously, Sonic being isolated in that first movie was really painful to watch, but also really relatable for my son. Because he's also had some struggles with schooling and with feeling isolated and alone. And so it was kind of this bonding moment of oh, okay, actually this character we both really love is experiencing the same things that we've both experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shit, okay, I guess we're just going to have a mutual family bawling session now.
Yeah. And if you don't mind me asking, how is video gaming and music and creativity, kind of like assisted with like neurodivergence and that part of your life as well?
Hugely. Because the repetitive melodies kind of get stuck up in there, I'll sit there and I'll just play with them and I'll try different constructions of the melodies. And sometimes I'll go, oh, actually, I'll try that in the song later, and then I'll go and I'll do it in the song, and that will just snowball into suddenly being a remix. I think the way it's really helped me as a person, like I often say that the Doom 2016 soundtrack literally saved my life, and I do believe that, because in 2017, 2018, I was driving from Epping to Knoxfield, or
Bit of a trek.
Yeah, every day, because I worked in a
Wow.
workshop in Fentry Gully.
Mm-hmm.
And that was about an hour and a half's drive every day. And without the Doom soundtrack to sort of keep me company in the mornings, especially just to kind of get me revved up, fired up, and able to pay attention, I really don't think I would have survived those drives. But there were also a lot of dark times where it's just like, yeah, this is the music that's keeping me company.
Mm-hmm.
Even processing when my brother died, I was in the middle of making a remix of one of my favorite games, Cool Spot, the special stage from that. And that's a song that we'll be releasing soon. But I was halfway through the remix when he died, and I found that my entire approach to the song changed. And then the next song that I made also was this, like, it was from Echo the Dolphin, and that's actually released just recently. That was a collab on KB on a big album with Melodies Zone. And that track just had so much emotion packed into it. And I didn't intend it, but it was a really good way for me to process and kind of not deal with, but kind of let him come out a bit more and still be there and be in something that I could then listen to later and go, oh, yes, I can see where he was in there.
I imagine when listening to it back, you get transported immediately back to that time, which can be a harrowing time, hard time, like a difficult time.
Yeah, it's one of those things. He was always really, really good at music, like really good at music. And a lot of our talks were always about music. Our last conversation was about Adagio for strings. Ironically, he passed 2 days later. I was flying to Sydney to go see Darude, and one of the support acts opening for Darude played Adagio for strings.
It's like full circle moment.
I was just sitting there going, what in the hell is going on right now?
Yeah. The universe is an unusual thing.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it?
But it was good. And I think that having video game music and it being video game music, especially as being something that has been very intensely personal to me, has been something that's let me process a lot of these experiences in a very unique way.
Yeah, incredible. And thank you for bringing up a very vulnerable and personal subject there too, but also for bringing up Cool Spot.
Thank you.
The 7-Up mascot that we don't talk enough about. Final question, and this is kind of for all of us, and it's without notice, right? So this is what we're going to wrap up on. I want to go around the table, and I want to hear everyone's top 3 video game tunes. No, that's going to be hard.
Wow. All right.
So I think guest has got to go first.
All right. Okay. Look, top video game tune, you're going to be surprised, is not actually Chemical Plant Zone.
Mm.
It is Casino Night Zone.
Oh, there you go. It was written down, and you have evidence from 90.
When I was playing the Sega, I played Sonic the Hedgehog 2. When I was playing Sonic the Hedgehog, I got up to casino level. It is really cool. With a little picture of Sonic and Tails and the boss in Casino Night Zone, which I couldn't beat, by the way.
Okay, Casino Night, yeah. So classic.
Yeah, for me, that's like top. We have the special stage music from Cool Spot set in the bottle.
I don't know Cool Spot.
Oh, you got to go look it up.
It was a Mega Drive.
It's really, but you got to hear the Mega Drive version.
Yeah.
The Mega Drive version is superior. The NES version was just
great music.
Sorry, Genesis did what Nintendo don't. And God, I'm actually going to go right forward and say Sonic Frontiers, the Wyvern boss theme, which is Break Through It All. Sonic Frontiers, Break Through It All.
Okay.
It's got a whole lot of lines in it. It's a spoken song metal track, so it's maybe a little bit of a departure from my standard. But I play a lot of metal as well, and the meaning in that song is just incredible. So if you haven't heard it, go listen to it.
Jake, what about you?
Yeah, so I years ago I was telling Davey this story earlier. I was reading a news article and it said the top 10 songs from games, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I had a look at that list, and it was all regular music in air quotes that had been put in games. So it wasn't actually game music. And so
so it was one of those articles.
Yeah, and I was like, hold on a minute, you're literally just listing songs out of Guitar Hero. That does not count as game music, in my opinion. So I was like, I'm going to write a blog. So I wrote a blog, not in 94, but a bit later, of my top songs, and of which Sonic it features heavily in there, actually. So the good old Green Hill Zone, I think, is just iconic in my head. It's just, it's
like
buried in there.
it's not necessarily my favorite track, because I kind of like Emerald Hill Zone better, but then I'm a Sonic 2 diehard. But Green Hill Zone is iconic.
Yeah, I think it's probably because the thing you start with all the time. Like if you're going to play a new game, it's always what gets kind of start.
Well, and a real subtlety there is that whenever you die in Sonic, or whenever you get knocked back to a checkpoint, the music in the zone starts over again. It doesn't start from where it was. So you're always hearing those opening melodies.
Yeah. Otherwise, Super Mario Galaxy had some good orchestral pieces in there.
Good call.
That was the one of the B zone, the B area. I can't remember what that's called, but that was particularlarly good. And then sometimes just some Elder Scrolls, like ambient.
Yep, that real ambient vibe.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a mix.
Yeah. Now, I've surprised myself because I did not actually intend to ask this, so I've had to rack my brain. That's why I got you both to answer first. I will go like Legend of Zelda. Like Zelda has always been.
Have you been to the symphonies when they've bought the symphonies yet?
No, but I have on my video game playlist. I have like a symphony version, the Nintendo Symphony Orchestra or whatever it was.
I've got a video version as well. If you want it,
it's something I can listen to and like. You get this like euphoria, like when it builds towards
it's a song that like that entire Zelda theme is a song that was just written to be played on a violin.
Yeah. But it's just during those orchestral versions of the soundtrack, I just like it's so hard not to get emotional about it and everything. And I'm like, I can't wait for them to come back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I tend to like these ones. I mean, I've got so many that I was a fan of when I was a kid, but these are the ones that kind of really make me feel something. And so I bought a Halo before. Like it is just like it's stunning. Like,
it's a beautiful soundtrack.
Yeah, I was tossing up between that and the soundtrack from Journey.
Oh yeah.
Because that is pretty much an entire game told through music. Like very much. I mean, the visuals play a big part in it too, but the music is a character in that game.
Yes,
I think
I love that.
Halo was Martin O'Donnell, I think.
No, there's a Skrillex.
I don't
know. Incubus did tracks for Halo. Yeah, there's actually like an official OST with Incubus tracks on there. There's like really long pieces.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just instrumental, but yeah.
And my favorite Sonic. Rolling around at the speed of sound, got places to go, gotta follow my rainbow. Sonic Adventure 2.
Yep.
That and the song from the end, Live and Learn.
Yes.
I remember once, years ago, I had that burnt to a CD with, amongst a whole bunch of other songs, and a guy I was dating got into my car and I had the CD on and that song comes, he's like, what the fuck is this?
Oh, but come on.
Never saw him again.
I was on stage with James Landino and we were both dancing to Escape from the City. I mean, come on. That is iconic.
It is iconic. It is like, because you hear that and you were immediately taken back to that. The way that game starts, he comes down on the helicopter and you've got that cool level ski sloping down San Francisco.
I'm sorry, I did this on my Instagram story. I actually said to all you people that love Escape from the City, I'm sorry, Open Your Heart is superior. And I'm going to stand by that. Open Your Heart, Sonic Adventure 1, the opening theme, especially when put in context with the opening cinematic.
Yeah.
Unbelievably good.
Yeah.
Especially because for me, it was my first introduction to 3D Sonic. It was like, okay, now we've got this is 3D. We're serious now.
I hired a Dreamcast from my local Video Easy just to play that game.
Oh, I didn't know you could hire the console.
You could. It came in this giant suitcase.
That's glorious.
Bolted into it. So
that's glorious.
So you had to play it inside.
Yeah, and my mum had to leave $100 deposit, safety deposit.
Wow.
Well, look, thank you so much for that. This has been a really, really cool conversation.
Thank you so much.
And to help wrap it up, like, how can people follow you? How can we support your work?
Matt Frequencies on Instagram is the big one. It's all just one word, Matt Frequencies. Look for the guy with the rainbow beard. I've got it on my avatar. Sometimes it's red, sometimes it's rainbow. At the moment, it's rainbow. You can also find me on Facebook under the same name and YouTube. YouTube is where I put a lot of the videos of my extended sets. And I am also on SoundCloud, which is where I put a lot of my previews of my songs. So if you want to hear what I'm working on, what I've got coming up, what's going to be released in the near future, check out my SoundCloud.
Incredible. Thank you so much. We'll include links to all of that in the episode notes.
And one last little spruik, 25th July, Cafe Gomo. the Book of Divergence.
Is this the
Incredible.
finale?
Yes.
Could be.
Yes. Help us find Euphoria.
Well, thank you so much for that. Until next time, I've been Davey.
And I've been not Mitch.
And we've been the
Bargain
Bin
Bin
Gamers.
Gamers.
You've got to do it at the same time as me, Jake.
Sorry, I forgot.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give it a big thumbs up on YouTube or follow the podcast wherever you get your podcast from and leave us a 5-star review. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky and follow along on our live Twitch streams. You can also continue the conversation in our BQN podcast Discord by clicking the link in the episode description. Don't forget that the Bargain Bin Gamer is part of a larger network of podcasts called the BQN. You can support this and other BQN programs by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/BQN. We'd love to hear your feedback on the episode. Leave us a comment on YouTube or send us an email to bargainbingamer, GAYMER, @gmail.com. Until next time, au revoir.
Double T Media.